Hey friends, welcome to part 18 of our Microsoft Certified Azure Developer Associate Ultimate course. We are starting with question number 210 in this part of our series. You develop and deploy several APIs to Azure API Management. You create the following policy fragment named API counts. Now there is a snippet of the policy fragment in front of you, and the policy fragment must be reused across various scopes and APIs. The policy fragment must be applied to all APIs and run when a calling system invokes any API. You need to implement the policy segment, and you are given some XML elements, and you need to see which of the element needs to be substituted where in that policy fragment. Your XML elements are name, inbound, outbound, set variable, fragment ID, and include fragment. Now friends, we want the API counts policy fragment to be reusable, run for every API call, apply across all APIs, and execute when a request comes in, that is an inbound pipeline. You have to use include fragment to make the policy fragment reusable and fragment ID to link it to your defined fragment. Now base preserves inherited and global policies. Folks, the remaining option name is used to name a policy fragment when you define it. Outbound runs after the backend response and used for response transformation, and set variable stores temporary values for later use in the pipeline. Next question. A company is developing a solution that allows smart refrigerators to send temperature information to a central location. The solution must receive and store messages until they can be processed. You create an Azure Service Bus instance by providing a name, pricing tier, subscription, resource group, and location. You need to complete the configuration. Which Azure CLI or PowerShell command should you run? Now friends, there are 4 commands in front of you, and you will use the command in option B to create a queue in an existing service bus namespace, which is what we need here. Option A creates a resource group which already exists. Option C only retrieves credentials but does not configure message storage. And option D creates namespace which already exists. Let's move on to question number 212 of the series. You are developing a web service that will run on Azure virtual machines that use Azure storage. You configure all virtual machines to use managed identities. You have the following requirements. Secret-based authentication mechanisms are not permitted for accessing an Azure storage account. Must use only Azure instance metadata service endpoints. You need to write code to retrieve an access token to access Azure storage. Now friends, there is a snippet in front of you and there are 2 question marks, and you need to tell what are the values that can be substituted in place of those question marks. Now the first part of the question is talking about the URL to use here. Folks, you can immediately rule out any URL which uses localhost, as they are used for local dev emulators. 169.254.169.254 is the link local IP reserved by Azure for instance metadata service, and you do not need to specify any port while accessing metadata service endpoint from inside a virtual machine. Let's move on to second part of the question, which is talking about the code segment in the response received. Now friends, Azure token response is JSON only, so we will choose option D as the correct answer here. Folks, there is a link on your screen which you can refer to understand how to use managed identities for Azure resources on an Azure VM to acquire an access token. Friends, in question number 213, you need an application that reacts to events from multiple Azure services, for example, blob storage, ARM, in near real time. Handles high volume events automatically, filters events so only relevant ones are processed, no events are missed even if your app is temporarily unavailable, uses Azure functions to process events, means serverless, no infrastructure, while minimizing custom routing code. And the solution you choose is configure Azure Event Grid system topics for each Azure service. Create event subscriptions with advanced filters to receive only the relevant events. Use Azure functions with event grid triggers to process the events. Enable dead lettering on the event subscriptions to handle failures and ensure reliable delivery. Does this solution meet the goal? You need to tell whether this is right or wrong. And friends, this is a correct solution. Event grid system topics can subscribe to multiple Azure services. Event subscriptions with advanced filters ensures only relevant events are received. Azure functions with event grid triggers ensures fully serverless processing. Dead lettering enabled ensures no events are lost even if the function is down. And event grid in combination of functions scale automatically, ensuring high volume handling. Event grid handles routing, so no extra code needed. Okay, the statement for question number 214 is you are developing an application to store millions of images in Azure Blob Storage. The application has the following requirements. Store the EXIF data from the image as blob metadata when the application uploads the image. Retrieve the EXIF data from the image while minimizing bandwidth and processing time. Utilize the REST API. You need to use the image EXIF data as blob metadata in the application. Which HTTP verbs should you use? Now friends, you are given with some application metadata action, and then you need to choose what is the corresponding HTTP verb that can be used in that scenario. The first part of the question is talking about store EXIF data, and the verbs are get, put, post, and head. In Azure Blob Storage, metadata is part of the blob properties. To set metadata, you use put with XMS meta name value headers. This updates the blob metadata without rewriting the blob content. Second part of the question is talking about retrieving the EXIF data. Your options in the verbs are put, post, head, and connect. Now friends, to retrieve only metadata without downloading the whole blob, you should use head request. Head retrieves headers including metadata without returning the blob content, minimizing bandwidth usage. Now friends, the remaining option get is used to download the blob itself. Post and connect are not applicable for Azure blob metadata. Okay, in question number 215, we are working with Azure API management and have an instance named API1 that uses a managed gateway. We want to apply a policy at the product scope. The policy should set a header X request context data on inbound requests. The header must contain the region hosting the gateway of API1. The policy must execute after global level policies. We are given a partial XML policy and asked to fill in two placeholders. Target 1, where the policy should begin execution. Target 2, the object used to extract the region value. Friends, for target 1, the correct choice would be option A, base. This ensures the policy runs after global policies, which is exactly what the question requires. Second part of the question is talking about target 2. Now friends, context is the right choice here. The context object provides runtime metadata, including deployment region info for the gateway. Folks, if you're liking the content, do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe the channel. Let's move to question number 216 of the series. Now friends, in this question, we are deploying multiple ASP.NET web applications to Azure App Service and need a storage mechanism that can share session state across all applications, support concurrent access, and store full HTTP responses for concurrent requests. The solution that is being chosen here is deploy and configure an Azure database for PostgreSQL, update the web applications. You need to tell whether the solution is right or wrong. Now friends, Azure database for PostgreSQL is not suitable for this scenario. You should instead make use of Azure Cache for Redis, which provides all the abilities mentioned in the requirements of this question. Folks, we have already covered multiple variation of this type of question in the series, so make sure to go through the previous parts as well to gain the maximum benefit from our content. Before we proceed, folks, I would like to introduce you to my TopMate profile. If you are seeking guidance on clearing certification exams, considering a career transition into DevOps or cloud computing, or require support with resume reviews or mock interviews, you can easily schedule a one-to-one session with me via TopMate. You will also find digital products available for purchase, including PDF version of all the certification questions featured on the channel. PDF will be available for download instantly as soon as purchase is completed. For any specific queries, feel free to use the priority DM option. I will respond as soon as possible. Do not forget to take advantage of the tips and coupon codes available at the top of my TopMate profile to enjoy these benefits at minimal cost. Friends, link to my TopMate profile is available in the description section of this video. All right. In question 217, you are building an API in Azure API management, but the backend service is not ready yet. Developers still need to integrate with and test the API instance. So you must configure APIM to return a test, which is mock response, without calling any backend. Now, the first part of the question is talking about policy. And your options are proxy, set status, mock response, and forward request. Policy would be mock response. This policy is used to return a mocked response without forwarding the request to a backend. Second part of the question is talking about policy section, and your options are inbound, backend, on error, outbound. Policy sections should be inbound. This is because mocking should happen before the request is sent to the backend. And the third part of the question is talking about HTTP response code. And your options are 200, 400, 500, and 501. HTTP response code will be 200. This indicates a successful test response for customers. Okay, in question number 218, a company hosts a static website on Azure storage with a custom domain. They are facing unauthorized access from another country or region and have the requirements to prevent access from unauthorized users and ensure all access is over HTTPS. You need to choose the correct configuration for each requirement. Now, the first requirement is prevent access from unauthorized users. Your options are configure a firewall rule on the storage account, configure the public access level of the web container to blob, configure the storage account to use Microsoft Entra ID authentication, configure the allow blob public access property for the storage account to false. Now, you should make use of storage account firewall and virtual network rules, as they allow you to restrict access by IP ranges and block traffic from unwanted regions. Static websites don't support Microsoft Entra ID, and disabling anonymous access on a storage account by using the anonymous access setting of the storage account doesn't affect static websites that are hosted in that storage account. Now, the second requirement is to require HTTPS access to the website, and your options are enable Azure Content Delivery Network on the storage account, configure the storage account to require secure transfer, configure Azure Traffic Manager for incoming traffic to the website. Now, Azure Storage doesn't natively support HTTPS with custom domains, so you will have to use CDN in this case. Azure Traffic Manager provides DNS-based routing, so we ruled it out. Friends, there were supporting links provided in both of the requirements, and I suggest you to go through them to understand more limitations while hosting static websites in an Azure storage account. The statement for question number 219 is you are developing a web application that uses the Microsoft Identity Platform to authenticate users and resources. The web application calls several REST APIs. The APIs require an access token from the Microsoft Identity Platform. You need to request a token. Which three properties should you use? Your options are redirect URI or URL, application ID, application name, application secret, supported account type. The Microsoft Identity Platform requires some core values when requesting an access token for a web app, and the first one is application ID. This is also called as client ID and identifies your app in Microsoft Entra ID. Next one is application secret, which is used to authenticate the application itself. And the final one is redirect URI. This is required for authorization code flow and used by Entra ID to return the authorization code or token securely. Next question. You are a developer building a website using a web app. The website stores configuration data in Azure App Configuration. Access to Azure App Configuration has been configured to use the identity of the web app for authentication. Security requirements specify that no other authentication systems must be used. You need to load configuration data from Azure App Configuration. How should you complete the code? Now, friends, there is a code snippet on the right-hand side of your screen which has 4 question marks, and you need to decide what options go in the place of those 4 question marks. The options for all the 4 question marks are default Azure credential, chained token credential, managed identity credential, Azure App Configuration Client. Now, folks, default Azure credential tries multiple authentication methods, which violates the no other authentication systems requirement. And chained token credential explicitly combines multiple credential, which is again not allowed here. So we will be choosing managed identity credential here. And folks, Azure App Configuration Client is the correct client class to interact with Azure App Configuration. Now the options are same for third and fourth question mark as well, and based on what we have chosen in the first 2 question marks, credential would be managed identity credential, and the value that will be substituted in the fourth question mark would be Azure App Configuration Client. Folks, if you still have any doubts, then please post them in the comment section and I'll try to address them as soon as possible. We will move on to question number 221 of the series. You develop a web app that interacts with Microsoft Entra ID groups by using Microsoft Graph. You build a web page that shows all Entra ID groups that are not of the type unified. You need to build the Microsoft Graph query for the page. How should you complete the query? Now, friends, there is a query in front of you which has 3 different options that you need to choose what would be the correct values in those options. The correct answer is now on your screen. Filter is used to apply logical conditions to the query. Not group type /any s:/s equals unified excludes groups where unified is present in the group types collection. And $count equals true requests the total number of matching groups in the response. In question number 222, you have an Azure App Service App1 and an Azure Key Vault Vault1 that stores secrets, certificates, and keys. You must grant App1 access to Vault1, enable automatic credential rotation, and avoid storing credentials in code. Now, folks, option A uses app service authentication, which is for user authentication, not service to key vault access. Adding a TLS SSL binding to App1 is for HTTPS traffic, not secret access or rotation. Assigning a managed identity to App1 allows it to authenticate to Azure Key Vault without credentials and automatically handles credential rotation. Uploading a self-signed client certificate and use it in code violates the requirement that credentials must not be stored in code and does not support seamless rotation as well. Friends, that's all for this part of the series. If you are someone who's looking to gain access to the PDF version of all the questions that we have covered in the series till now, then you can do so by joining the channel as a gold member. You just need to email me at devopshub2023@gmail.com requesting the PDF copy once you have taken the membership. All these instructions are available in the description section of the video as well for your easy reference.